Hello guys, Furphy's Loco here, and today I'm doing a little tutorial on how to get a windrow area with the 440 configuration. So here's what you'll need. You'll need a wooden railway Edward, a 6-wheel chassis. If you have an extra of a certain engine, like a couple extras of a certain engine that has 6 wheels, just take the chassis from it. In this case, the spare chassis is from an Oliver. Also, you'll need a couple flathead screwdrivers, a marker to mark of where the front magnet is, or you can use an engine to help find where the front magnet is. Minnie's wheels. I got these from a nighttime bash or dash. I can't really remember. Wire cutters, pliers, and a file. First, you're going to need to get Edward off the chassis. Well, Oliver's chassis was already removed. So, you just need now to get Edward off the chassis. Sorry about that. That was Chipper. Well, my dog, Chipper. Yep. There. Oh, he came off cleanly. I was expecting these to, like, one of these to break off inside of him. Yeah. Then you just keep the chassis, like, if you ever get a truck from Shapeways. Most people just have Edward like this. Chassis, just like... So, now to give Edward his front wheels. First, you take the engine to, well, any engine to help determine where the front is. Then use a Sharpie or a paint pen to mark the area. Then you take your pliers and just yank off the wheel. Now, just get this last little piece. Off. There, and there. Edward's front wheel is... the front wheel of the chassis is off. And with the little wheel remain, like the old wheel that you broke off, you could just, like, get some brown paint and make it look like some, like, background, like, just may have some little wheels, like in a shunting yard, like, as a little decoration, so to speak. Along with the engine, you've ripped the chassis off's body. Next up, one thing I did forget of, another thing you will need is either balsa wood or clay for the wheel extension. So, you just take, well, you have to get the Mini's wheels off the axle, which, this is where the wire cutter is coming in. You just take this and go back, forth, until it pops off. Then you just pull off the wheels. Oh. Then just put that there, and there. Now your Mini's wheels are off. And another tool I did forget mention that you will need is glue. So, yeah, I'm just taking some of this air dry clay, which I got from Hobby Lobby. I don't know what brand it is. So, all you just have to do is, oh, also, another thing I just realized that you'll need is a piece of track. So, there. Got a piece of track to, mainly for most people, like when this part, you can either do it when giving Edward's front wheels, you could do it any different, there are two ways of doing it, just like having the wheels up on top, like high up, or you could just have them like low on, that way they're touching the track. So this piece of track will help, like, with the, I'm going with the other method, which is like having the wheels touch the track. So just get some clay. place it here. Minnie's wheel. You can also use wheels from the Trackmaster push-along range. Well, since I have a couple duplicate minis that I'm using for customs, I'm just using the wheels off of the ones I've tore apart for custom, so... Or at least any, like, smaller wheel will do, so... There, now you have to, like, let the clay dry. So, I'll get back to you when the clay is done drying. And once your clay has dried, which this clay doesn't stick on, so you'll have to glue it on. So just take some of this glue. Put some here. But don't glue the wheels on just yet. You'll have to paint them before you put them on. Well, glue them on. So, just put this there to dry. I'm just using this thing to hold it up, and I had to refix one of the van's vents. Like, it broke off. So, with the vans that have this little, like, vent detail, I'm leaving them out of the... having them on top of the storage boxes, that way they don't break. Also, I have a little work-in-progress narrow-gauge truck. Yeah, I just need to glue it all together and repaint it. So, there's a sneak peek for a custom. And once your glue is done drying, it's now time to paint the clay. So, unfortunately, it's too cold out to paint, so I'm going to have to use paint pens. A paint pen for this part, so... Yep, just... Yep, painting the... doing this, like, repainting it... Well, mainly to help it look more like with the chassis like it... Alright, though. That's why I'm repainting it. Now for the other side. And now your chassis should look something like this. Once it's all painted. The paint on the chassis is dried. Now it's time to paint the wheels. The paint I would use is the Apple Barn brand paint. Mainly because the fact it is the same shade of blue as Thomas, Edward, and Gordon. So, yeah, so I just get some on the brush. Toothpick to help hold the wheels still while I paint it. Oops. Wheels are painted now. Well, now that the bogey wheels are painted, now it's time to paint the main wheels. And once the wheels are done on the chassis are done drying, well, the next part's optional is covering up some of the spots where you accidentally got blue paint. So I'm just going to do that real quick. And also, this next part is optional. Is coming up the name of the previous chassis donor. Well, this part is optional. Is coming up the original name and putting on Edward. Oh, that was my Apple Watch. I was wondering what made that sound. There. Now I just have to wait for that to dry before I glue the wheels on. Well, that way they just... Well, the reason I have to is mainly because that way it won't drip down. So... just wait for that to dry. Then the next step will be to glue the wheels on. And now that the paint on what that covered the old name up is paint over it, now to add the name, I'm using a silver paint pen. For this, oops, forgot the D. R D. There. And once the paint is done drying, now it's time to glue on the little front wheels. I'll just put some glue there. Get the wheels. Now wait for that side to dry. The next thing to do is let this side dry, then glue on the other wheels. Oh. Yep. Once this side is done drying, now it's time to glue the other wheels on. There. Now just place it here and just let it dry before the final step, which is gluing the main body on. And once the wheels are done drying, well, the glue that's on the wheels on is done drying, now it's time to glue the body on. Just put a little glue here, here. Oh, and a little there. There, and make sure his body is on straight. There. And now, now just reunite the arrow with the tender, and now you have an accurate wooden railway Edward. So, yep, this is Furphy's Loco signing off.